designer of Pop-It-Ups dies for Elizabeth Craft Designs, and today I'll be teaching a tutorial on this. How to assemble die number 1039, the Merry Christmas pop-up from Elizabeth Craft Designs in the Pop-It-Ups line. One of the great things about Pop-It-Ups dies is that you choose your own card size. So for today's tutorial, I'm going to use a red A2 card. So that's 5.5 wide, 8.5 long, scored in the middle for folding, and then a green insert for the pop-up. So that's 5.25 by 8.25. And it's the green card that I'm going to use to cut the pop-up, and the red will just end up being my backing card. Pop-It-Ups dies have alignment nubs on the side, and that's what you use to line it up over the fold of the card, and it can go anywhere along the fold. And once you've decided on a location, I'm just going to center it here. Use some temporary removable tape or washi tape to hold that die in place so it doesn't slide. Any major die cutting machine that can accommodate a wafer-thin die will cut a Pop-It-Ups die. The ejection holes on the Merry Christmas die, the swirls and the hearts, are actually made to show you exactly where to place those decorator pieces. So if you just trace them using the die as a stencil before taking the die off of the paper, now you've got perfect placement guides for those decorator pieces. Folding the Merry Christmases is easy. It's just two little boxes, and always start at the center fold, folding that in both directions. And when you do that, when you open it back up and start with your fingers on the side, the little box is going to come forward, and that will allow you to get your thumbs or fingers inside the box and then just work the fold at the bottom. That's where the little box touches the floor of the card, and you want to work that first. See that? Okay, now you got to go up and find the long fold where the pop-up touches the back wall, and you can see it right there. It's been scored for folding. Get your fingers behind that, give that a press. Merry Christmas is going to be the flat front, so you can kind of press that to come forward. And then this is the hard one, and it's not really hard, it's just finding the finger location to get in there and work that fold. And of course I'm doing it backwards for the camera, so that adds a little extra challenge to it. But right where the bottom of the pop-up part hits that little box, there's a fold there, a little valley fold. So somehow you got to get in there and kind of work that fold. From here, once you see the two boxes, you can generally, with kind of flat pancake hands, fold the whole card closed. Just go slow with it and you'll get it to fold in the right position. In the closed position, you'll see that just kind of slight overlap of the big box on top of the little box. And then when you open it, you should see both boxes. So you've got a big box on top and you've got the little box on the bottom. The decorator pieces with the Merry Christmas die are what really makes it come to life. I always suggest the Elizabeth Craft Designs double-sided adhesive on the back of the cardstock. Anytime you're doing something intricate, just makes it easier because they become a sticker. So I'm going to roll the red pieces through. I've got a flourish there. I've got my Christmas. I've got Merry. I've got a set of hearts. So far, oh, oops, one of them stayed in the die. I did pretty well, though. Okay, so, oh, see, it came off on my finger because it's sticky. Okay, let's put that back in there. And then the swirl. So I love it when this happens where all of the dies eject right onto the paper, and now I just have peel-up stickers that I can put on the die. Since I have not put my backing card on yet, even though I've already folded my insert, it's easy just to flatten it, and then that will allow me to decorate it and then just refold it. So remember, those are just peel-up stickers, and of course they're going to want to stick to your fingers, but with the words, I kind of tend to start on the left-hand side, and you're looking to leave a little green shadow all the way around that letter. So start there at the top of the M. Once you get one in there, then it's pretty easy just to kind of put it in there. You'll see the shadow that just gets created all the way around the word Merry. Christmas is, of course, done exactly the same way. I think Christmas is maybe even a little easier because the entire C kind of has a little shadow around it, really making it easy to place the C. And then I like to go all the way over to the S and get that into place, and then kind of the rest of the word just finds itself. I'm going to put the flourish die on next, and one thing about these decorator dies is they obviously fit the pop-up really perfectly. They were designed to go on the pop-up, but they also work great just on their own. So you're going to be reaching, I think, for these little decorator dies for all sorts of other projects, layouts, and things. Just when you need a nice script Merry Christmas or a pretty flourish or some hearts or swirls, those are going to be great all-purpose decorator dies. So once again, I'm just leaving a little shadow, getting my flourish on there. When you use the die as a stencil to make the location of your hearts and swirls, the stenciled lines will be smaller than the actual pieces. So that makes it really easy because you know exactly where to place them, but your pen lines are going to be completely covered by the decorator pieces. So it's not required. Obviously, you can just go in there and wing it and put them anywhere you want, but it was something that I just thought might be helpful to some people to get that perfect spacing on those decorator pieces. I was kind of channeling my cross-stitch days. It reminds me of like a cross-stitch sampler. That's what I was going for with this design. The Merry and Bright clear stamps, those are sold separately, but they are designed to coordinate perfectly with all the new Merry and Bright Pop-It-Ups dies. And the one I'm going to use for this card is the From Our Family to Yours, and it is sized to work perfectly with the little dimensional banner die that comes with the Merry Christmas set. If you take a look at this die, you'll see that there's some score lines in it, and a couple of the score lines are diagonal and they kind of approach the straight score line, and where they're closest together, if you want a downward facing tail, that's the top of your die. So I just used a Sharpie pen to add a little black arrow. That way I never really have to think about it. When I'm using it to cut out the words, I just make sure that my arrow is pointing up to how my words are facing. You can see the words will fit right in the opening. It's really easy to line them up for perfect placement every time. You can leave it as a flat banner. It looks great, but remember there are a couple score lines in it, and it's always easiest to find those score lines from the front of the piece where they've touched the cardstock. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the diagonal ones first. I'm going to put my thumbnail into that diagonal fold and just fold it up and over. It'll kick the little tails of the banner downward. Then I've got straight folds. I'm going to open it back up and work my straight folds. So the fishtail ends should come straight across the banner when you work those two folds. Then once you've worked all 4 folds, it's actually quite easy now to just reverse the straight folds so they become mountains, while simultaneously letting the other valley folds just stay as valleys. So you see it's a little pinch fold. You're just pinching the ends of those under, then you're going to get that downward facing banner tail. Now, if you prefer to have those little banner tails kicked upwards, no big deal. When you take your Sharpie pen to your die, just make the arrow point the other way. I'd like to keep that little dimension that I just created in the banner, so I'm going to use pop dots to attach it to my pop-up. And so this little banner will just fit perfectly on that bottom little box there, and it just completes the greeting. So now it says Merry Christmas from our family to yours. So now it's time to add a backing card to our card. Remember, I've got that red card already cut in an A2 sized. I've used the Elizabeth Craft Designs double-sided adhesive tape. I've peeled up the liner on just the back area. That way I can still kind of slide it around on the floor area to get it perfectly centered. I want the fold in the fold, so that's the most important part, is making sure that fold is jammed right into the fold of the backing card. And from there, my favorite thing is to actually kind of wiggle the back wall of the insert up to the back wall of the backing card, rather than just close it, because what happens if you just close it is you can kind of shift the insert. Now, once you get one half on, well then the other half you can do the close method because it's not going to shift the card. It's already attached on the other side. So I'll just peel up the liner. From here, it's really, really simple. I'm just going to hold that down and close the card against that exposed adhesive. So I like that this pop-up die basically does all of the interior decoration. It's very pretty. It needs very little else. I only added some washi tape top and bottom, and then I stamped the little prancing reindeer and then cut it out with one of the decorator dies from the Tags pivot card. So I need just some kind of simple little lead-in on the front of the card so it doesn't look plain. And so what I've done is I've stamped the little Santa Says seal on some cream cardstock, and I'm going to cut that out with one of those decorator dies from the same Tags pivot card, a little bit larger tag this time. So I purposely stamped that right in the middle of the tag to leave me room to add pieces from Props 5. So this is another new die set. Those little costumes will fit on any of the character dies to turn them into like a little Santa or a little reindeer. But I thought it would also be fun just to decorate this little Santa Says seal. So I'm going to add Santa's little glasses and his mustache and beard and his hat, all of the pieces that come in Props 5. Just to make sure that his white beard would show up against that cream tag, I added one of those flourishes across the tag first. So very simple design, just a panel of that same green cardstock, the same washi tape, just tying in the design from the inside of the card. And then inside the card, on the Merry Christmas, I did add just a little glossy accents and let it dry, and that just gives it that nice little sheen. Now that's an A2 sized card. It's not particularly bulky. It should mail for a single stamp in an A2 envelope. Another option for the front of the card might be to use one of the new character dies, like Rudy the Reindeer. There's even a stamp that makes his footprints on the Merry and Bright's clear stamp set. This one, very similar to the one we just made. I used the Agatha edges top and bottom for some additional decoration. I always link my supplies on the associated blog post and in the About section of YouTube videos. You can always go to ecraftdesigns.com to find out more information about Pop It Up's dies. You can like my Facebook page, Karen Burniston Designer, where I post daily inspiration, and you'll always find more ideas on my blog, karenburniston.com. Thanks for watching.